What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and I am super excited to have DouglieDoWrong back on the channel. He was on the channel, I don't know, about a month ago, 2 months ago, when we talked about Patrick Graham and the former Miami Dolphins head coaches. But now we're going to talk about draft. Doug, thank you for coming on the channel, man.
Thank you for having me, dude. Always a pleasure being on here.
Yeah, man, and you're a fellow Mets fan, so
Yes, I actually just bought myself a Mike Piazza black jersey. I'm super excited to get it.
there you go, man. We were talking before we went live briefly, and you basically have the same sentiment that I do. You can't wait for the draft to get here, and you have no idea what your team is going to do at number 5.
No idea. I'm literally about to make a video for tomorrow talking about the Miami Dolphins draft strategy, and a lot of it is going to pertain to just trust what Flores and Greer are going to do, because that, like we were talking about before we came on, they're kind of taking that Patriot motto where they're not telling anyone anything. So you have no idea. Giants, Dolphins, you have no idea what they're doing when it comes to who they're picking. Like, you guys at 4 have so many options. No idea. Dolphins at 5, so many options. No idea. It's going to be crazy, but I just, like you said, I can't wait for Sunday to get here and the draft be over so we could just look at what they did.
That's a great point you bring up about Flores, because obviously him and Judge they're basically nearly identical. Both young guys, both limited experience, both learned from the Patriots, and Flores has that same MO. He doesn't let you know what they're going to do, not just with the draft, but on game day. You don't know what they're going to do. Much like Belichick.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just they like to change it up, keep you on your toes, and mess with your head. So we'll see how this draft goes.
Yeah, it's been a completely changing of guard for the Giants when it comes to that, because Gettleman 2 years ago, everybody knew that he was enamored with Saquon Barkley. He came out and said he's the gold jacket prospect. Now, some Giants fans in the back of their head thought we could still trade down or take a quarterback, but Gettleman made it very obvious he was in love with Saquon Barkley. The Giants have not even interviewed Isaiah Simmons. They've interviewed every other linebacker prospect but Isaiah Simmons. And when it comes to the offensive tackle prospects, you've heard they've liked every guy under the sun. So I'm completely thrown through a loop. Now he does an interview yesterday, which leads a lot of people to believe that he may be going Simmons. But if you listen to an interview 2 days ago, it would have led you to believe that he was going Tristan Wirfs or Jedrick Wills. So It's much like with Miami. I don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah, it's completely up in the air with you guys. And like you said, same with Miami. Tua or Herbert, or are they going to bypass both of them and go offensive tackle, or will they go defensive route? It's like they have so many options. For me personally, when it comes to the Dolphins, I think they did so much on the defensive side that number 5 will probably be offensive side, whether it be a tackle or a quarterback. A lot of people have the Dolphins trading up ahead of the Giants, going either 3 or 2. I honestly wholeheartedly think the Dolphins aren't moving from their 3 first-round picks. I think they got their 3 first-round picks doing hard work in trades, and they're going to use all 3 of them to build for the future. If you saw what they did in free agency, a lot of the contracts they signed were coming off of their 4th year. So they are trying to build that longevity of the team. So I honestly think they're going to use all 3. When it comes to the back end of the draft, they have 3 5s, 3 7s, and a 6. They'll probably start using those to trade back up, because they're not going to draft all 14 draft picks. No one really does that.
Right.
But when it comes to like 5, 18, and 26, I see them staying there, maybe moving 1 or 2 spots either up or back to maybe get some more picks next year. But I see them staying. I don't think you Giant fans need to worry about the Dolphins jumping ahead of you guys taking Isaiah Simmons. I don't think that's going to happen.
No. If anything, if you guys were going to jump up, in my opinion, it would be to, like you said, to take a quarterback, to go offense. And the only offensive player you're trading up for at 5 would be a quarterback. Redskins, I don't rule that as any possibility. You know, some people, they're taking Chase Young. I don't care what anybody tells me. I am completely, the first 2 picks I know. It is Burrow, it is Chase Young. 3's where it gets interesting. Now, I just read a tweet from My Football Update or whatever. I follow them on Twitter. They have a big following. They said that the Lions, they've received some offers, but they're not even close to in terms of what they're looking for to trade out of 3. So if the Lions stay at 3, I do think the Giants are a prime spot for somebody to trade up, but I don't think it's you guys. Because I think it could be the Jaguars. I think it could be the Raiders. Maybe it's the Chargers if they're worried you're going to take your quarterback. But if I'm the Dolphins, and I know Tua's been linked to you guys for forever, but is he really worth that invest? I mean, if you want to take him at 5, take him at 5. but are you willing to trade up for a guy with the injury history that he has? Didn't even get to have a pro day. Nobody's talking about that. You basically saw him make it at home video where he's throwing 10-yard slant patterns in a dome. So I don't see it. I don't see you guys trading up. I'm in complete agreement with you.
Yeah, definitely. To give you a little insight on the video that I have coming out tomorrow, don't be surprised if Tua starts to slide because of what you said of people not knowing and being able to bring him in and do their own physicals on him with his injury. He came out and said he's 100%. He can go today if he wanted to. We don't know that, but don't be surprised if people start taking him off their board because they can't give him that physical. That's a big thing. Also, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I know this is your show, but
no. I love questions. I love questions. Let's go.
The Jaguars and Ngakoue are button heads. They're button heads. He sent out that tweet saying, "What's going on? Let's move on." Say the Jaguars offer the Giants Ngakoue and their number 9 to move to 4. Would you do it?
I'm not trying to give away any. I kind of hinted it on Twitter. I hinted it on my live stream last night. I think, and I'm not fully committed to this yet. I think that's what I'm going to mock to the Giants. Okay. I think it's a lot more realistic than people think. Yannick Ngakoue, in my opinion, I don't know if it's going to be on draft night. He will not be a Jacksonville Jaguar. I've been saying that for months. They're going to trade him. And if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, the sooner you do it, the better. This guy's been a complete headache. Now, the only question I have when it comes to the Giants, does he fit their culture? They're trying to get rid of all these outspoken, bad locker room guys. They got rid of Beckham. Now, Ngakoue, up until this point, hasn't had that MO. He's forcing his way up the Jaguars. He wants to get paid, but the Giants may look at that and say, we don't want that player. But I think it makes complete sense if they could, create the cap flexibility, which I think they'd be able to do. You could always do that to kill two birds with one stone. Because I do think in Gettleman's heart, he wants to take the tackle, but he doesn't want to take him at 4. And I look at the trade partners. If I'm the Jaguars, I'm not making a trade to trade up unless I'm getting rid of Ngakoue. Yeah. If I could shed myself of Ngakoue, I'm not giving you 9 and 20. I'll give you 9. I'll move up. I'll get my defensive playmaker, whether it's Okudah, because they lost a lot of help there in the secondary, or whether it's Isaiah Simmons or a quarterback, and I'll do it that way. But I think the only way that the Jaguars trade up is if Yannick is involved in the trade.
Yeah, definitely 100%. Yeah. That popped in my head. I was on Twitter, I think it was last night, and I saw him tweet that out, and I was like, I got to ask him tomorrow. I got to ask him if he would do that move up. It's enticing too, because it fills your need. And then like you said, you also at 9, you could still get one of the top 4 left tackles and really start to build your team. And they might even offer you more to go up to 4, because to 9 to 4 is a huge jump. You might even get a 3rd round pick, add more capital.
That's what I was doing a live mock draft simulation last night. That's what my subscribers said. They said they'd want a 3rd or a 4th on top of it. And in that situation, it's definitely interesting. Giants fans are kind of split on Yannick because of what he's done, his attitude. Yeah. But a lot of fans love him. That's a huge need of ours. And I think most Giant fans would be in agreement. Our biggest need is a tackle. You got a young quarterback with a very bad offensive line. That trade would enable you to do that. And you're probably getting the 2nd tackle off the board. Because I think you guys go quarterback. I don't think the Chargers take a tackle. I think the Panthers go defense, whether it's Derek Brown or whether it's Simmons. And I think the Cardinals would be the first team to take a tackle. So you're still getting probably Wills or Wirfs, who those are the guys you've been connected to the most. And you get Yannick Ngakoue, and you still have your 36th pick.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing, like, you really got to think about with Ngakoue. I was talking to a lot of my subscribers, a lot of my Twitter followers, because they were asking me, like, hey, what about the Dolphins getting him, or what is the possibility? You got to look at kind of what happened with Jarvis Landry and the Dolphins. They sent him to the Cleveland Browns for a 4th, and people lost their minds. He's worth a 1st. You got to understand, though, he's tagged already, so all that money is going with him. So that's with the Giants. That's where you would get the extra capital on top of the 9th pick, because you're taking Ngakoue, but you're also taking that huge contract and that future contract. So I honestly think you guys would get more than a 9th if that trade did happen, and be super exciting for you Giant fans.
Yeah, and not to mention the Jaguars don't have a lot of leverage right now. Everybody knows they're in sell mode. Everybody knows Yannick wants out. They got to trade him as quickly as possible, because if they wait, they might end up with what the Texans did for Clowney. They got a 3rd round pick. They can't end up with that. And I think on draft night, if there's a deal, and I do think the Giants are one of the teams that make the most sense, because you can move up and get that defensive playmaker. You can't do that with Seattle. You can't do that with Tennessee. If they could orchestrate that trade where they get 4, they get Simmons or Okudah, I think Okudah makes even more sense because they lost all those top-tier corners. If the Lions were to trade down with you guys or the Chargers and Okudah's there at 4, I really could see the Jaguars looking to move up to 4 to get Okudah.
Definitely. It's going to – oh, God. We got what? 2 more days? 1 more day?
Yeah. It's just so interesting, all the different trade possibilities. Like you said, though, I agree. I don't think you guys are a match with us. Because I think you guys stand pat. I really don't think you trade down. Where do you think you guys are leaning at 18 and 26?
Me personally, I've been doing mock drafts out the wazoo. I've only published 2 of them, but I've been doing them constantly, just trying to see like what the trend is going. Like, and again, mock drafts are mock drafts. No one knew that the Chicago Bears were going to trade up for Trubisky that 1 year. No one knew that you guys were going to take Daniel Jones.
I didn't.
Yeah. That video is famous in my mind. But yeah, no one knows. So, you do these mock drafts and you think to yourself, like I could say in my mind, I know what the top 5 is going to be, right? Like Joe Burrow, Chase Young, Jeff Okudah is going to the Detroit Lions. You guys are taking Isaiah Simmons. Dolphins will take probably either Tua or Herbert. Everyone has that locked in. But then the draft comes and it could throw it out of whack. So when I do my mock drafts, a lot of times once I get to 18, the top tackles are gone. And so, like, say I take Tua at 5, all of a sudden I'm now stuck without a top tackle at 18. So with the Dolphins, a lot of times if I just stay pat, I would normally go quarterback or tackle 5. 18, I go either tackle or top safety. And then 26, I either go safety or running back because I don't think the running back I want, which is Swift, is going to be there in the beginning of the second round. So that's normally like I always give myself 2 options with all 3 picks, and that's kind of where I see them going.
Yeah, I look at you guys, the way I have you guys pegged right now, and it could change. One, I want to ask you about Becton. Do you think what came out with Becton could affect him and drop him to 18 with the drop?
If I can get another Laramie Tunsil situation, I'd be ecstatic. Like if you fell to 18 and the Dolphins got Mekhi Becton, who I love, I have him as my number 1 left tackle. Yes, he has his weight issues. Yes, he struggles a little bit, but he's got things. And I talk about this every time I talk about the draft. You take players that you can't teach. Like you can't teach speed, you can't teach strength, you can't teach height, you take those players. You could teach the technique. And Mekhi Becton running that 5, I think it was like a 5.
I think it was 5.11.
40 at 300 and something. Like, the man is a beast. I would love to have him at 18. 5, I don't know if I take him that high. But at 18, if he fell to Miami, I'd run down there and throw that ticket in. So, yeah, I would. I don't know because it's not as severe as what happened with Laramie Tunsil with the picture coming out like an hour before the draft, because I think what it said was like he didn't fail any tests within like the last 3 or so months, but there's stories coming out of him using. So we'll see how it pans out. This draft is going to be crazy because we've had nothing to do for months, because of what's going on, and a lot of people are just doing a lot of speculation. So all of a sudden, people are going to start sliding that a lot of people don't expect. Like, don't be surprised if like Okudah either goes early to 3 to Detroit, or all of a sudden he falls to the Jags at 9 and they don't have to trade. Like, there's so many people that might start moving, going early or sliding. It's crazy, and that's the best part of the draft is we have no idea what's going to happen. The
speculation. Yeah, and Simmons could fall to 9 too. Don't rule that out.
Yeah, exactly.
And me personally with the Dolphins, I've had you guys. I've been very consistent with your team in my mocks. I have you guys going quarterback at 5, whether it's Tua, whether it's Herbert. I don't know which one it's going to be, but I don't have you trading up. 18, I got you guys going with Josh Jones. I think you're going to take Josh Jones out of Houston at 18, and at 26, I actually have you guys taking, and I hope you don't take him because I want the Giants to get him at 36. I have you guys taking Cesar Ruiz, the center prospect. I have you doubling down on the offensive line and protecting the future for Tua, who's an injury-prone quarterback.
Yeah, I would love that move. The fact that the Dolphins have so many options, I constantly talk about that there's 6 positions that if the Dolphins answer in the first 3 rounds, because they have 6 picks in the first 3 rounds, I'm happy. Quarterback, offensive lineman, either tackle or center, both, or 2 tackles, and we'll just kick Jesse Davis to guard. Safety, running back, and a big nose tackle. because we have Wilkins, we have Gachow, and we just picked up Agba and Shaq Lawson, but they're more speedy, get after the quarterback. I want that big like Vince Wilfork in the middle. If we can answer those six, I don't care how or where, I'd love it. And to get Caesar at 26, I'd be ecstatic. I also like Grant Delpit at 26. I like him at safety. And again, then in the first pick in the second round, I'd go running back. If they start to fall and I can get a J.K. Dobbins or DeAndre Swift at that first pick we have in the second, I'm set. Like the Dolphins have so many options that they
can't mess it up.
I don't want to say it though.
Let me ask you a question. How many tackles, because there's a lot of Giants fans that think we're going Simmons right now. How many tackles do you think go in the first round? If the Giants don't take one, how many tackles do you think go in the first round?
5.
You think 5? 6 if the Giants take one, 5 if they don't?
Yeah. I honestly think that if that's like my minimum, like 4, I think there's going to be a run. I think after pick like 8, there's going to be a run. Like the Cleveland Browns are going to take a tackle. Like all of a sudden you're going to start to see, and that's what normally the trend that happens in the draft is all of a sudden you'll start to see positions go off the board like 1 and 2. And then all of a sudden teams start to get scared and they move up. And then all of a sudden you start to see a run. Like you'll see it at wide receiver, probably between like picks 18 to 32. You'll start to see like 4 or 5 wide receivers come off the board because people start to get scared. Like Denzel Mims, who's a really good wide receiver, but doesn't have that first, like that early mid first round grade. He'll probably go mid first round because people start to see a run at wide receiver and get scared and jump up to take a Denzel Mims or something like that. So yeah, you'll start to see a run, and I can honestly see about 5 tackles to take in the first round.
Yeah, I think 5 or 6. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think Ruiz goes in the first. I know a lot of Giants fans are hoping he gets to the second. I think he's going to you guys. I could be wrong. That's my pick. I could also see him going as early as 17th to Dallas. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about that. Dallas lost Travis Frederick.
Yeah.
So maybe they reach a little bit on Ruiz at 17 if they really like the prospect. So it's going to be really interesting, man. This draft could go so many different ways. Somebody's going to drop. They always do. Somebody will get to us in the second round that nobody expected. I just hope the Giants take them if we do not trade up. Do you think you guys could trade down at 26?
I think that the best possibility for the Dolphins to trade down is probably 18.
18.
I could see them trading down with 18. 26 is a nice sweet spot where you're still towards the back end of the first, so you can still do what you need to. I think 18, that middle spot, I could see them doing anything with 18. They can move up. Like I said, if there's a run at tackles and the guy that they want all of a sudden is potential to go, they can move up from 18. But I can definitely see 18 being the spot that they start to move up or down. Definitely. I would say 5, but it all depends on how the draft falls. If somebody goes too soon, like if somebody trades up, say the Oakland Raiders or Oakland Raiders, I still call the Chargers San Diego. So you're going to have to bear with me on that one. Say like a team like that moves up, then I could see like if the Dolphins think that they could still get their top guy, because Chris Greer came out and he said they like about 9 guys with that first pick. They could even move down from 5, still get their guy, pick up more picks, and do their thing. So, but 18 is the spot that I could see them going up or down with.
Interesting stuff. And one other thing I want to talk about that I could see you guys doing. You said you opened up the possibility of taking a tackle at 5 or trading whatever. If you did that, you think you take Jordan Love at 18 if he's there?
Yeah. 18 26. Yeah, I like Jordan Love. I'm not a big Herbert fan. I get knocked on a lot by some Dolphin fans that I don't like Herbert as much. He's got the talent there, but it's just the personality. You know, people like to tell me, hey, he has a personality that's a bad knock on him. Me personally, it reminds me too much of Ryan Tannehill, and I had 7 years of that. I want to go in a different route. Jordan Love, yes, he has a little bit of turnover issues, but it's because he forces it. Last season, he didn't have a great team around him, so he's trying to do everything with nothing. I like his athleticism. Kind of reminds me of a Patrick Mahomes. I like his throwing style. So I would go Jordan Love 18 or 26 if we did go tackle at 5.
Interesting stuff. And I think I'd lean with you. If I was a Dolphins fan, that would be my preference. I do not trust Tua. I know he's got unbelievable ability. I'm worried about the injury history. I am worried about the injury history. I don't want to invest a top 5 pick in Tua, and I'm with you. Herbert, I think, is a little bit of a reach as well, even though I like him. I'd probably have him above Love, but 5 to me is a little early on Herbert. I would sooner try to get Love at 18 or even trade up maybe to 14 or 15 to secure that I get my quarterback. And I think I'd rather go with the tackle at 5. I'm in agreement with you if I'm a Dolphin fan.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I like Tua. I don't want the Dolphins to trade up from 5 for anybody. I don't even care if it's Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, Joe Burrow. I'm not moving from 5. If they take Tua at 5, I'm not mad. Yes, he has the injury history, but you know the talent there, and they also they also have the 2 other firsts. So you know if they take Tua at 5, I'm not mad. If they take a tackle, I have about 3 players that if they take at 5, I'm happy, and I have a few if they take at 5. You're going to have a reaction like you had with Daniel Jones.
Who's your favorite tackle? Let me get that. You said Becton you liked. Who's your favorite?
Mekhi Becton's up there, but it'd have to be Wills. I like Wills. You know, the tackle from Alabama, his name is completely losing.
Wills is from Alabama. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's not Jedrick Wills.
Tristan Wirfs.
I like Tristan Wirfs. Yes, because Jedrick Wills only played right tackle. Now, if the Dolphins do get Tua at 5 and then they do get Wills, then that makes sense because you need a right tackle to essentially be the anchor.
And they played together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when it comes to ranking him, I don't have him that high because he's never played left tackle. So you don't know if he can transition over to left tackle. So Wirfs would probably be my number 1. Then I have Mekhi Becton, Andrew Thomas, and then Wills would be my number 4.
It's so interesting how everybody has a different order with those 4. And that's one of the arguments with my subscribers. You can't differentiate who's the best, but then what I combat that with is maybe they're just all really good. It's a really good tackle class, and everybody has their preferences. Some people think that Wirfs could be more of a guard than a tackle. At the end of the day, I think they're all going to be very good offensive linemen. I worry a little bit about Mekhi Becton, but like you said, he's got all the physical tools. I actually prefer Wills. I think he's the safest, but I think Wirfs has a very high upside, and everybody seems to be forgetting about Andrew Thomas. I don't know what happened because you go back 2 months ago, Andrew Thomas was the consensus number 1 tackle. He's done nothing to hurt his stock. It just seems like these other guys have helped their stock.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
You know, that to me is one of the more interesting storylines of this draft as well, man. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for providing insight on the Miami Dolphins. So you say they're staying at 5. Giants fans do not expect the New York Giants to drop down to 5 with a trade scenario with the Miami Dolphins, and you think they go tackle or quarterback?
Yep, 100%. I honestly can't see them going defense at 5, even though a lot of Dolphin fans want Isaiah Simmons at 5. I don't see it happening.
I'm with you. I think you got to go offense. I think you got to help out your new quarterback, which is what I think you guys are going to end up doing at some point in this draft. If you guys have not done so, I should have said at the beginning of the video. I always forget. I'm going to put it in the pinned comment. Go on over to DouglieDoWrong. He's got a fantastic channel, very knowledgeable, great fan. He's from Jersey. I forgive him. He's a Dolphin fan from Jersey. It is what it is. But Doug, man, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Thank you for everything you do for the YouTube community in general.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to have you on after the draft. We got a lot of things to talk about.
I'm looking forward to it, buddy, man. Have a good one.
You too, man.